Hello and welcome to this new top list, not to be confused with top less video on my channel. My name is Just Memplex, and in today's video I'm going to introduce you to 10 upcoming games of 2025 and 2026 that you eventually have never heard of, or at least hopefully some of them. And as always, as you know from my channel, I'm going to cover the game, tell you why the game is interesting for me, and also I'm going to tell you what concerns me about the game. And I know there are far more games out there that not many people know about, and I have a huge list of games that I'm looking forward to, but I had to choose some, otherwise the video would be like extremely long. So I try to pick a few games, but if you know about other games that people should know about, share them in the comment section below. I would love to read about it. And as always, if you enjoy my content, feel free to leave a like and also maybe subscribe to the channel. That would help me out immensely to eventually reach my goal and maybe have enough time to create 2 videos a week, which would be pretty cool. Anyway, let's jump right in with number 10, Morbid Metal. This game actually comes from my country, which is Deutschland. And it's kind of combining the design of Warframe with a combo-based combat of Devil May Cry and a roguelike system. Which, if you don't know roguelike systems, makes each run feel different with random upgrades, so you try to come as far as possible. And I've just recently played the demo of this game on Twitch, and I think that the game looks and feels very, very smooth. The combat is technically simple if you stick with a single character, but you have the option to switch between characters inside an actual combo, which makes the combos way more interesting, and you have a lot of options to combo the different characters together, which really makes the combat a lot more interesting. My only concern about it is that the demo was like really short, and I really hope that the game offers enough content on release to actually be worth playing like for a longer time than just a couple of hours. So like we're talking about enough characters, enough abilities, enough upgrades and stuff like that. And also please give this game like a banger soundtrack, man. I need it. Jumping over to number 9, which is Duel Corp. Unfortunately, I didn't get to test this game yet, but there is something about it that just really caught my attention. You are looking at a Souls-inspired action RPG that you can play solo, co-op, or even PvP. And I have to say that the retro aesthetics of the game look like really extremely unique, and usually that comes with a very limited downgraded combat system. And I'm actually very critical about how combat looks and feels, but I have to say that from what I've seen about this game, the combat looks pretty good. And if that isn't enough, like they even mentioned that the game will offer an MMO feeling and also queue-based competitive PvP. Yep, I see you already smashing the keyboard. Like, I don't care about PvP. I hope this game has very good single player and that they take out any PvP. I hate PvP. Well, I care. Like, I like PvP, okay? Sorry. Well, you do you and I do me. Whatever. However, they have shared some PvP material, and that raised some concerns for me because the time to kill seems to be extremely low, and I would think that the combat could be a little more interesting if the time to kill would be higher. And also, I don't see any marketing activities surrounding the game, and I kind of understand that. It may depend on the budget, so you should work with creators. Dear developers, if you see this video, I would absolutely volunteer. I would like to play the game. I can't do this. How does it even work? Number 8 covers 2 games actually. Disclaimer, if you hate hearing the word Roblox, you should skip to number 7. It's the only time I mention this game. But if you are open-minded and you are into anime, stick around. And if you already know Roblox and you've played some Roblox games, you definitely know these games already. Rell Seas and Holy War X. Starting with Rell Seas, it is an open world MMO sandbox one-piece game built in Roblox. And from what they've shown so far about the game, this game has already surpassed anything that ever existed on Roblox, really. The ambition and the scale of the game is just nuts. You can do so much stuff in the game. I won't even try to list everything. But a few highlights are open world PvP, joining pirates or marines, owning and customizing your ship, or even your flying ship, driving an U-boat, submarine, what the hell, having devil fruit powers or even learning haki, and overall just insane combat and combo potential, which makes the PvP extremely interesting, an in-game jail and lots more. It's just insane. And the second game, Holy War X, is actually pretty similar, especially in terms of quality and content, but it's not from the same team. This game is based on the anime Seven Deadly Sins, and it also comes with insane combat, insane animations, and just so much content. And it's also just hard to believe that this game is a Roblox game. It's insane. Now, with the reputation of Roblox games being a little problematic, the reason I mention these games is that they seem to actually care about creating a very good playable game that people want to play. And they also said that they don't want any pay to win, and I sure hope that this will be the case. But as someone who loves animes, my craving for open world anime sandbox MMOs is just huge, and I just hate that no publisher with the actual licenses and rights outside of Roblox doesn't even seem to care or like try to create something similar. It's just non-existent, unfortunately. The biggest issues I have with these two games in particular is that they have been in development for so long. They don't have big teams. There's still no release date in sight for any of these two games, and I would be a lot less nervous if I got to test the game, but unfortunately this didn't happen yet. Please let me test the games, please. Also, something I should mention, Holy War X is doing something kind of problematic at the background. They are offering like paid testing roles, and I feel like they are earning a lot of money with these testing roles and kind of delay the game on purpose just for the sake of delaying and earning money. But that's just a bold accusation. I hope this is not the case. I really like how the game looks and I would love to play it, and that maybe will change my mind completely, but these paid testing roles, I'm not a big fan of that. Let's talk about number 7, which is Fellowship. If you ask any hardcore MMORPG players on what is the most important aspect of an MMORPG to be like successful on the long run, they will most probably always refer to the end game, which contains dungeons and raids. Now, the creators of Fellowship had this idea where they just said, well, what if we made a game about dungeons and raids without the rest of the MMO stuff? Which means without the grinding to end game, without the open world and the immense exploration and the gear grinding, just dungeons and raids. Having a group of tank and healer and DPS and just going for the best possible dungeon run. And I think that is a pretty cool idea, like especially for people who loved raiding, but maybe they have limited time now, they have families and stuff like that, and they don't really want to have like this gear grind, especially when a new expansion comes out and you have to grind gear to participate in endgame raiding. They just want to go online and play raids and dungeons, and Fellowship seems to provide exactly that. And honestly, I haven't seen a game like that. I think it's a unique and great idea. And as someone that just recently got into World of Warcraft, yes, I know, but that's a topic for another video. I honestly like the aspect of dungeons and raids, like with the Holy Trinity and stuff like that. It's great. And I'm actually very curious on how the game will feel when it comes out. From what I've seen so far, it looks like how World of Warcraft feels, and that is a good thing. World of Warcraft raiding is top-notch raiding. My first concern about the game, though, is that they decided to go with pre-made named characters. And I think that if you scrap the whole progression part of MMOs and the whole building your own character part, customizing your character and transmogging is extremely important. So I think having your own character in this game and creating it how you want it to look like would be like an extremely important aspect to make this game insanely good. And my second concern is the question of progression. Like, how will they manage to make progression feel meaningful? Like, if you don't have gear and ability progression, there needs to be something. Maybe like ranking systems and competitions where you raid against another team at the same time and you compare like your finishing time at the end. You have a ranking, something like that. But I'm sure that they have something in mind. Maybe there even is gear progression or something like that. I don't know. So I'm looking forward to play this game. And if the devs see this video, I would like to play it as soon as possible. Invite me. Number 6 is Beast of Reincarnation. When I saw the trailer for this game, I was extremely surprised when I found out who the devs behind this game were. Because it's Game Freak. Yes, the Game Freak, the team that makes Pokemon. The game that is just like Pikachu. It refuses to evolve. Well, Beast of Reincarnation, though, looks absolutely amazing and is a testament of the fact that maybe Game Freak is not the problem, but maybe Nintendo. Because what I've seen from this trailer, Game Freak seems to know how to make interesting and good games. Beast of Reincarnation seems to play in a post-apocalyptic Japan, and they mention that it will be a single-player RPG with tough and technical fights, which can actually be seen in the trailer with combat sections that have parry mechanics and stuff like that. And I have to say that games in a Japanese or Chinese setting and art style like really catch my attention. It's absolutely down my alley. And if the game feels and looks anything like it is shown in the trailer, it could be extremely good. My biggest real concern is that basically the trailer is the only thing that we have seen about the game so far. And if Chrono Odyssey told me anything, it is that trailers can just be put cleverly together and the game maybe doesn't even look remotely close to that. So I will stay positive and hope that they show more gameplay soon and that the game will be amazing. I hope so. Which brings us to number 5, and this is Silver Palace. Now, I have to make a confession. Even though I hate the idea behind gacha games and how the monetization works, unfortunately, most of these games absolutely have aesthetics that resonate with me very well. And damn, the trailer of Silver Palace left an impression on me. And that is a problem because I know that it's most probably going to be a gacha game, which is hard to play without throwing money at it. But the quality of what has been shown in the trailer and the ideas behind the game look amazing. Basically, in Silver Palace, players assume the role of a detective tasked with investigating crimes and solving mysteries in the industrialized metropolis of Silvernia. And they are mostly related to monsters and demons. And just the opening scene of like the player character walking around the city, analyzing a citizen and realizing that he seems to be infected and just simply gunning him down, just revealing that he is in fact a werewolf and starting the combat, followed by combat that just looks pretty good, is just insane. Like, they got me good. They really got me good. Well, I am simply into over-the-top anime games and also think that the setting of the game with this industrialized city just looks amazing. But please keep in mind that this might eventually be a gacha game, which means my concerns about the game are obvious. It's the monetization, because what we've seen from similar PC cross-mobile games is that a gacha system in this game is very likely, and generally like characters being locked behind a paywall will most probably happen. But who knows, maybe I just made the wrong assumption and the game will actually only offer cosmetics. Time to jump over to number 4, which is Sea of Remnants. Sea of Remnants is another game by NetEase, a publisher that I really like to support lately, with a pretty unique art style. And this time we are talking about a pirate-themed setting though, combined with fantasy, providing a adventure RPG with both naval combat and also turn-based combat, and over 300 different companions that you can unlock. And the turn-based turn-based combat of this game looks pretty interesting so far, like especially some of its animations, and it also seems to have some fresh ideas and special mechanics to it. So it's overall like looking pretty decent, which is important because Expedition 33 set the bar for turn-based combats like really high this year, so they won't have an easy job to like get to this level. And the game's aesthetics look extremely different from most of the other games on the market, but not in a bad way. Actually, I think that it fits the pirate theme very well, and even though it might not resonate with you, I like it. Now, what is really interesting to me and what they didn't showcase so far is the fact that the Steam page actually mentions the tags online co-op and also MMO. So it seems to be an MMO, which is interesting because they didn't really showcase any co-op and MMO features in any of the material, and there's a lot of material out there. And that also kind of concerns me because I'm a bit confused on how the turn-based combat will work in a co-op or MMO environment. It could be extremely good, but it could also be something that is not well thought through. And if I learned something the hard way, it is that if a developer doesn't show anything like until shortly before release, it might be a problem. Like, I just remember Funcom and how they didn't showcase the Deep Desert like until a few days before release. And that was... I think they had their reasons. But overall, I think the game looks extremely cool. I would love to play it. And what I would also love to play is my number 3, which is Threads of Time. Threads of Time is a JRPG inspired by Chrono Trigger with some golden sun sprinkled into it, with a very unique 2.5D pixel art style that just looks so good. I don't know why, but these pixel games kind of always catch my attention, even though I'm usually not into retro games and not into older games anymore, but it just looks so smooth and so well animated. The game features the classic JRPG turn-based combat, but they have showcased some crazy good looking combat animations that just blew my mind when I first saw them. There are specifically skills that seem to combine the power of two characters, like the one that you can see in the background right now, where the mage seems to empower the skill of the swordsman with fire magic, and I think that looks so good. Overall, the aesthetics of the game and its animations look extremely polished, and I just can't wait to get my hands on this game. Unfortunately, they have shifted the schedule of its release, and now we don't know anymore except that the game should be released in 2025. And I feel like there's some issue in the background with the game somehow, and that might be the main concern. Like either with the publisher or like the game itself, we don't know what the problem is. I remember reading something on Reddit where like the developer spoke about some issue, why they delayed the game, but I can't find it anymore. So if anyone of you finds it, let me know. But overall, as you know me, I'm still going to stay optimistic and the game looks fantastic. And now we are going to jump over to my number 2, and this is The Hidden Ones. Oh boy, I have already played this game and I absolutely fell in love with it. The Hidden Ones is a 3D competitive cinematic action fighting game that is an adaptation of the martial arts franchise The Outcast. Some of you might know The Outcast. I didn't, but I checked it out afterwards and I think it's amazing. The Hidden Ones is a PCX mobile game about actual arena combat, but also features a story with cutscenes and mini-games, but the focus is on the arena fights. So the game mostly focuses on the PvP matches and the AI matches, and let me tell you, the fights feel absolutely amazing and the animations are just simply outstanding, combined with the aesthetics of the graphics that it just looks so clean, and it even works on a phone, while we have other games on PC that just look like bullshit compared to that. And I just don't understand why this is the case. Why do games that are available on mobile look so good and some games on PC just look so bad? Now, I do have some concerns left about the game, and the first one is that the game should have already been released. As far as I know, I think it should have been released at the end of last year, but somehow I think they canceled their plans and now now we don't have a new release date, even though it was said that the game should be out in 2025, but we have no release date. And I even played the game very early in 2025 and it felt like very polished and finished in my eyes, so I don't understand why it's not coming out. And we have no news besides some like wallpapers and stuff on the Discord server. We have absolutely no news about the game. And my second concern is the monetization, because somehow they gotta earn money with it, you know, and they have to do it without touching the balance of PvP. So I hope they come up with a great solution with cosmetics, for example. And especially, I hope that they don't make bad decisions like locking characters behind paywalls or like allowing to unlock characters earlier by paying money. That would be disgusting. But from what I've played so far, I am extremely hyped about this game. And if you like games like that, especially like arena combat games, you should keep an eye on it. But now let's talk about a game that we already knew it will be here, and the game that will not have any pay to win. It will absolutely be balanced, and it's Where Winds Meet. Surprise! If you've already subscribed to my channel like way back, you already know about this game because I've created a bunch of videos on it. However, I still like to mention this game as much as possible because I think it has the potential to be the best Western wuxia MMO that there is on the market right now. And I also highly respect the decision of NetEase, the publisher, to like refuse pay to win in any of their like new upcoming games, and that is a great thing and I want to support that. So Where Winds Meet is a hybrid MMO in a wuxia setting that has already been released in China about 9 months ago, and it's now coming to global with a translated version. And in China, it's already one of the most successful games and most played games so far currently, and I think that's a very good sign. The game features action combat that is very similar to Sekiro, for example, with perfect dodges and with parries, combined with the option to create a very unique moveset of 14 active skills and also your very own character design. And I already said it's a hybrid MMO, which means that it offers two major game modes. The first one is your personal version of the game, where you basically progress through the story, you explore, you fight world bosses, you build your own home, you interact with NPCs, and you can play at your own pace, and you can even invite friends to your world and play with them together in like co-op. Unfortunately not the story, but everything else. And the second part of the game is the MMO mode that you actually switch to with the same character that you play in the single player mode, so the progress is the same. Anything you do in both worlds will matter for your character. And this MMO mode offers raids, guilds, guild wars, PvP in arenas and in a extraction kind of mode, social interactions like cultivation, training, and even playing music together, and much, much more. I have already played the last 2 beta phases of the game a lot, and I can tell you it is absolutely amazing. It's not the Age of Wushu 2 that I was hoping it to be, unfortunately. They just have a different idea for the game, and that is fine. So it's a very outstanding game in its own way. It's just I was hoping for another Age of Wushu like successor, but it's not exactly that, but it's close to it. But if you like wuxia games and action combat games in any way, you should absolutely check out this game once it releases. And it's going to release soon. My first concern about the game though is that the MMO section and specifically the sandbox elements of the game don't encourage like enough interaction. So if you don't play in a guild, you can technically do most of the MMO stuff by just queuing over the menu. Also, your character can just learn everything in the game without even joining a faction or a school, and it kind of drags down the sandbox feeling of the game. I think that the game had the potential for a far bigger, better sandbox, and it could surpass Age of Wushu sandbox easily, but they didn't. And my second concern is that we might not have a huge player base in the West. The game is amazing, but I think not many people heard of it so far, which is why I'm actively trying to spread the word, because I would like to see the game succeed. But that's about it for my top 10 so far, except one game. I wanted to cover one more extra game though that I think didn't make it into my top 10, but a part of me still wants this game to succeed. and it's called Havenhold. If you've watched some of my videos and you are on my Discord server and you've been in my streams, you know that I like sandboxes in MMO games, and especially faction systems that make you choose a certain faction with certain faction-based abilities and allows you to learn other faction-based abilities as well, but slowly over time. And it seems that the team of Havenhold kind of had the same idea, and they are working on a game that sounds like something that I would love to play. In Havenhold, basically, you play a warrior monk from the ancient Far East, and you join a faction from the very beginning, and the game runs a timed cycle, which I think was 1 month until it resets. And in this cycle, every faction starts to progress in the outer ring of the map and tries to reach the middle of the map, which is a mountain. And it's basically the goal to gain this mountain's favor for your faction. And you do that by crafting, training, cultivating with other players, progressing your skills, and ultimately fighting other player factions on your way to the center. The game features action combat and a combo system where you utilize the power of ancient animal forms by transforming into them. However, I have already played the last beta version of this game, and unfortunately I was a little disappointed of how unresponsive and desynced the combat felt, especially making PvP feel horrible. Like, the moves didn't really connect, it was hard to hit the enemy, it just felt weird. And I also kind of expected the option to combine different spirits into a individual combo that I made myself, but unfortunately you can only use one spirit at a time, which comes with a pretty pre-made moveset, which was kind of the opposite of the sandbox and the individual moveset that I was hoping for. And also the progression in the game that I got to play felt kind of very stiff and very boring, because you basically played the same dungeons and the same bosses over and over and over again, and I didn't like it. And as I got closer to the center, I was aiming to experience a lot of PvP, but it just didn't feel good, unfortunately. Overall, I think that the idea behind the game is amazing, but the execution, at least in the last beta, was very poor. And I hope that they make the right decisions going forward until release, and it could potentially be a very good game. You should keep an eye on it if you like these kinds of sandbox PvP kind of games. But that is it for this video. Now I'm extremely curious, what do you think of these games? Like, these are of course my personal games that I think not many people know about and that I'm looking forward to. Of course, there are other games that I'm looking forward to that more people know about, but these are like very niche games. But do you know any other games that you want to succeed and maybe think that not many people know about it? I would love you to share that in the comment section, and if we collect enough games, I might make a second video. But if you're looking for an MMO to play and you want to know which of the upcoming MMOs are my top 10, you should check out this video. This is my most clicked video so far, and I think it was a lot of work, and I like the video so far. So maybe check it out. And if you don't have the time to check it out, thank you for watching the video anyway. Having a great day, and I see you in the next video. Bye.